He's going to go ahead and vote.
All right, I'm calling meeting back to order.
Again, my name is Janet Boyd. I am the charter school consultant. This is tab O. So this is the renewal of Storm Lake, Iowa Central, Buena Vista, Early College, High School charter renewal. I'll do my kind of bit real quickly here, and then I'll have the Storm Lake folks introduce who's here, and they can answer any direct questions you might have about the packet. This is, like I said, it's renewal. We're recommending the renewal. And on the bottom, the background there, the charter was started in 2005. There was some revision in 2010. And the 21-22 school year is the 17th year of operation of the charter. I probably should have included there that it's been renewed every 4 years, and that's 256F requires every 4 years, and it's been renewed every 4 years since the original approval in 2005, and it was last before you in 29th in 2018 was renewed. This charter school operates under 256F and a chapter 68. So this is different than what you this is a different code than what you just approved the two other charters.
Since there's a new code for the new charters, well, once operate under, so is there like going to be like a?
No new charters can be approved under 256F, this code. It can be no more new ones. They continue to operate under the code.
Okay, so they won't have to move to the, okay.
That's the way it stands now.
Okay.
Then in your packet, you have the data provided by the charter. There is some redaction, as you probably noticed, and there's a number of pages of data. I would kind of like to point out in their data that this is all submitted by the charter. The only thing I do to it is I redact it, and I make it, if I have to make any changes to make it 508 compliant, I do that. This is their submission. I would have you notice that aspiring teacher program that they're working with Buena Vista on, it's kind of a new thing and kind of exciting with the teacher shortage that we're experiencing in the state. And after their data, there's the department does a bit of an evaluation. And I know these aren't numbered, I apologize. It's in a chart there. It's titled Iowa Department of Education Renewal Evaluation. And what I do is I take the goals and then I take the purposes under the old 256F and talk about how the charter is doing compared to that. The one thing I'd say on their goals, a couple of places they did decrease, but I do truly believe that after coming off 2 years of a pandemic, I think that that's really impacted everybody, and in particular the charter. So that information's there. And then of course, our recommendation is to approve through the year 25-26. And I would like to point out that the charter has massive community support. Been wonderful to work with. Whenever I ask for data, for the reports that are required, they're the first to submit. They've been awesome to work with. So then also in the packet, there's the required cover letter, there's the required board minutes, and then they've got lots of I was told it was going to be 17 letters, but I think there's more than 17. So that's my portion of it. I would like to have folks introduce themselves, if that's okay. Is that okay? Sure. So I think, can we start?
You want to stand up and introduce yourself?
My name is Mu, and I'm attending the Iowa Central Charter Program.
Can you tell us what you're doing?
Oh yeah, what I'm majoring in automotive program. So
Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so sorry.
I'm also doing photography. That's what I love about charter program is I can choose so many choices. I don't have to stay in one place. I can have so many choices. So right now I'm doing my main is automotive. I'm also doing the photography outside. So right now, yeah.
Great pictures of your work.
Yes. So I'm doing went to Chicago and I took a photo of cars and so those both goes.
That's hilarious. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Oren Gore. I am an electrical technology student at Iowa Central.
I've always been fascinated by electricity, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to work on something I think is just so cool. It's been an opportunity I didn't think I would have, but I really appreciate the opportunity that I did get. I wake up every day and I enjoy what I do. And even though I have to travel to do what I do, I enjoy every minute of it.
Hi, I'm Izzy Ramos. I graduated with my Associate's of Arts degree with the charter program in 2018. So I was able to get my degree through this program. Right now, I am a youth advocate, finance and HR for the Bridge of Storm Lake. The coffee that Dr. Leva is drinking is one of our youth enterprises. And so it was so awesome to be able to come here to advocate for this program, because a lot of my kids, like I even have middle schoolers asking about this, and they're super excited because a lot of their families can't afford it, just like mine couldn't. So yeah, cool.
Wonderful.
Right, my name is Kane. I'm in the charter program at our central for turf grass management. Yeah.
You're gonna be on the golf course.
I'm just Jim Kirsten with Iowa Central here in support of the program. It's good to see everybody and thanks for your support.
Good afternoon. My name is Chris Cleveland. I am the Center Director for Iowa Central and Storm Lake.
Hi, Jesse Ulrich, President of Iowa Central Community College, and we just couldn't be prouder of the partnership under Dr. Cole's leadership that we have with Storm Lake. I think truly this program has been a model for the rest of the state to be able to follow. So we just look forward to our continued work and expanding the opportunities we currently have for our students. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Sarah Sharp and I'm the Director of Enrollment, and I advise the Fort Dodge Charter School students. I've been a part of the charter program since it started in 2005, so a lot of support for it.
Hi, my name is Lele Paul, and I attended Iowa Central at 2019 through 2020, and my majors is human services, but first, I started nursing in the first semester, but I couldn't do nursing, and then I switched into human services. The reason why I chose charters is that I am the first generations of college students, so it's given me a lot of opportunity to have experiences in college in a charter program. So I'm gonna graduate in this semester at my associate degree.
Your letter was really well written. I loved your letter.
Thank you. My letter?
Yes, I did.
Well, I have my brother with me, so I'm with my brother.
You probably helped him, right?
My name is Maria. I'm going to the Iowa Central Community College, and I'm majoring in welding. I wanted to do it just because I just needed one more year left to finish it. And I just wanted to let those girls out there know that not just guys can go into that stuff, and that the other young girls know that it's not just a major for guys. I wanted those girls to be out there and to know that they could do it as well too.
Very cool. Good for you.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I am Sochi Hernandez, and I'm part of the Iowa Central program. I'm still undecided.
All right.
I think first generation is kind of hard.
She's considering teaching.
They're all very nervous. I told them they might have to speak. My name is Brittany Bryan. I'm the charter coordinator for Storm Lake. This is my third renewal, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the continued opportunity this provides our students.
I'm Matt Doble. I'm the high school principal for Storm Lake. This is my first year, so I'm still learning about the charter program, but it's really neat to just talk with the students and find all the opportunities that they have because of this program.
I'm Megan Henrich. I'm the advisor at Storm Lake, so I work with all of the charter students at the Storm Lake Center. Huge support for it.
I saw 3 of your basketball games with Spencer, and I was so impressed with your kids. I can't tell you how respectful and I just appreciate the competition. I'm glad we won. I would never share that, but I just want to compliment you again, and all of you young people. Wow, you wow us with what you're doing.
I am Dr. Stacy Cole. I'm the school superintendent in Storm Lake. And I just want to add to Janet's point that we do have a lot of community support. Izzy talked about the coffee that they sell as a youth enterprise at the bridge. And they actually inspired my husband, who happens to be the chief of police in town. And he built a basketball court behind the police station. And one of the ways that he fundraises to always have basketballs available for the kids who want to play is the bridge students have worked with the police department reluctantly at first. Not really what they really wanted to do at first, but they have worked together and actually raise funds so that there's always basketballs available for the kids, the youth in town who want to go play basketball. So it's a really synergistic relationship that we have in our community. So thanks for having us today.
Awesome, thank you.
And Leah, did you go to Lorenz last year? Yeah, so I thought we should point that out too. So Iowa Central actually has a career academy in Lorenz, which is a welding program. And so Maria started in that program and is able then to finish. When she said she has a year left, that's what she's talking about, is the partnership that we have with Iowa Central, that they can start in high school and then she can finish that through the charter program.
I want you to know that we recognized a young lady, how long ago, Mike? 6 years ago, who was a welding student, and she became a welding instructor at Iowa Lakes Community College. So.
And I'm glad to hear you thought our kids were good at one of the games, because I got called out of the crowd to go stand in front of a couple of them at one of the games.
I'm sorry about that.
I didn't notice that.
Well, both sides, right? Yeah, we got to take care of that stuff. But again, I so appreciate your efforts, you guys.
All right, well, thank you. All right, is there a motion?
Yeah, I would move that Storm Lake Iowa Central BV Early College High School Charter be granted a renewal to the end of 2026.
I would second that and commend all of you for, it just sounds like a great program. Really good program.
I noticed that there's no conditions with this one.
Not with it. It's under the old one. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the motion carries. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody goes.
Thank you all.
Before you all leave.
Jim, come back.
Just let him go.
I just want to say before you all leave.
One, appreciate all of you coming. I mean, this is really a testimony of what is happening in your school and your community. But I want to take this time to very publicly recognize Dr. Cole, because this doesn't happen without someone like her, and her leadership for the community and the families is an incredible example for everyone to follow. So thank you. Okay, now you can go.
Thank you.
Class.
Thanks. Like a bow. All right. Yes. You built that mug.
Well, all of a sudden I stood in the crowd and Ellie says, "Are you here by chance?" And I'm like, "Of course I am." I'm not sure what's going on. I'm like, "I'm right there." Thank you. Thank you all so much for having us. Thank you. We are.
Oh, it's early.
Can't believe it.
Okay, that's just.
My wife, I wouldn't be home until 7:30.
All right.
Well, it's a big agenda. Not over. It's not over till it's over.
How long of a drive you got?
Oh, I just go to Council Bluffs. So it's about
Yeah.
almost 2 hours.
Almost 2 hours.
It's about 2 hours.
About 3.5 or 4. There's no quick way to get to Okobo.
There is no way to get there. You can get to Storm Lake. Get there.
You know, there's 2 ways to get there from Council Bluffs. You know,
I have a partner who don't let me leave my parents and law have a place. And they go a lot during the summer, but it's a 5.5 hour drive. Yeah. From the view.
I tell people that, well, yeah, I mean, you are about what you can get. But
They go though. I mean, 10 hours of driving or, a weekend.
You gotta love it, don't you?
Yeah, they gotta love it.
It's a special place. I see that the DNR is trying to sell Honey Creek. Seen that.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
Yeah. They've been trying to make that
We're gonna give a short,
years.
Yeah.
It's got at least 150 years on it. I found out it's not so easy.
Just a reminder to the board that we still are in session and it is still being recorded.
Oh. Thought I heard somebody yell recess.
Don't miss out on that.
I know, that's a good thing or a bad thing. Yeah.
Do we need to take a quick break or were they ready to go?
You want to share your screen?
Move on. Let's go. Move on.
Going.
I think we're just missing Betty, but should we go ahead and get started? or-
Share your.
Oh,
Betty,
okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
How do I get?
Yep, that's fine.
Close out.
We need to make you a panelist. What was your name again?
Heather, you should be ready now.
Is that David?
Okay.
Not yet. So then I say when I share, I don't need sound. He does. Share screen.
We need.
Did you call?
Huh?
Did you call?
Schedule it. She said, oh, was I supposed to do that? I said, well, I thought so. Okay. I'll call him.
All right, ready to go?
All right.
All right.
Hi, my name is Heather Meissen, and I was one of the team members for the accreditation visit to Des Moines area community colleges, and this was back at the end of October. The other team members were Amy Giske, Jen Rafty, and Jeff Fletcher. I almost forgot his last name. So usually Amy Giske does these, and Dennis was there too. Dennis was there. Usually Amy Giske gives these presentations, but I think this is some kind of initiation or something. My first time presenting one of these. So I think I get just a few minutes to kind of introduce the visit and what we found as a team, and then I'll turn it over to Dr. Jensen to give his presentation. So just a little bit of profile information. As you guys all know, DMAC is located right here in central Iowa. It serves the Des Moines area, 11 different counties, I believe. And so they are ranked first in total credit enrollment, second in joint enrollment, second in adult literacy, fourth in total non-credit enrollees, fourth in terms of lowest default rate, 14th with distant learning, 15 in credit awards, and then in terms of graduation, transfer, and success rates, they're 10th in student graduation rates, which is up 5% over the last 5 years, third in student transfer rate, and 8th overall in success rate. Now, during the accreditation visit, there are several different things that we're looking for as a team. The first thing is compliance with the Higher Learning Commission. And then we review 8 state standards, which includes faculty qualifications, faculty with special needs, CTE program review, facilities, strategic planning, quality faculty plan, and senior year plus. Since this was an interim visit, there was no continuous improvement component of this visit. And the next time that we visit them for accreditation, there would be a continuous improvement component. So I'm just going to kind of show some highlights of each of these different standards that we were looking at. And so in terms of HLC compliance, DMAC has continued accreditation with HLC. The next reaffirmation of accreditation is in 2025 and 2026. At their last review, there were no issues or findings, and the HLC report actually highlighted a number of strengths that DMAC had, and some of these strengths we saw as a team as well. And that includes strategic planning, assessment of student learning, closing the loop, and a lot of the things they do at DMAC were very data-driven. The other thing that we noticed out of the HLC report was the shared governance that they have there. And so they do a really nice job of gathering input from stakeholders on campus, faculty and staff. And that was also echoed in the HLC report. All right, so standards, faculty qualification. The team found that the faculty were well qualified, and we didn't have much in terms of recommendations, just some tweaks. So for example, on the recommendation forms, maybe just having a rationale why the faculty member was qualified, having additional notes there. So if they're using the 18 credits on a transcript, showing which courses qualify that faculty member for teaching. And then in terms of certain programs require faculty to have licensure. And so we would like them to maybe have some kind of process to track license expiration, just to keep those files up to date.
Those faculty members, do they get like a 1-year grace period to get recertified?
Oh, that's a good question.
If you don't have a license, you can't teach.
Right, I'm not sure if there's a specific grace period. I think they have to get the licensing as soon as they can. If we check to make sure. I think they were licensed. We were looking for just them to track the licensing better, if that makes sense.
They must do continuing ed to
Mhm.
keep the license. Is that what
Yeah.
we're saying? And they haven't done that, right?
The institution, we would just like them to see a record keeping of that continuing ed of that licensing. But at all the files that we looked at, everybody was qualified.
Okay.
Related to faculty qualifications is faculty load. And so again, we didn't really see any issues with faculty loading. We had to ask some questions for clarification. The only thing that we would recommend is having a more formal process for the mutual agreement for overload process. So right now it's kind of an email system. So we'd like to just see more of a formal agreement for that. For special needs, we thought DMAC was doing a great job in this area. Each campus has a disability service liaison, which is really good. The SDV 108 course provides a lot of resources for the students and introduces them to what goes on campus. And CTE programs are usually very credit heavy, and adding an SDV course adds more credits. And so what DMAC did is they took core competencies from that SDV course and embedded them into the CTE course, which we thought was really nice as well. They have a really nice daily alert system, and part of the strategic plan for DMAC is diversity, equity, and inclusion work. And so they've been doing a great job in this area as well. And one of the things that they did was hire an associate director of DEI and looking to hire a director as well. In terms of recommendations, when we do our visits, we do meet with a group of students, and it was a pretty small group of students, but a couple students said they were not aware of some of the campus security resources for Title IX or Safe Colleges training. So we are looking for DMAC to continue awareness in those areas. One student mentioned that there may be some scheduling issues. And so as part of the guided pathways work, we recommend that DMAC maybe take that into consideration as well, just so students can get into the classes as soon as they can in order to graduate in a timely fashion. And then the last thing in this area is DMAC did a nice job of displaying their non-discrimination statement. They did, however, have a shortened version of this statement, and we would recommend that maybe a little bit more information go into that statement contact information, like phone number, for example. So if a student had an issue, they saw that phone number right away, and would call. Standard number 4, CTE program review. Again, they're doing a great job in this area, very data driven. They have some really nice data analytics tools. They have annual scorecards and dashboards that are part of the 5-year review process. So the different CTE programs can, see how they're doing kind of in real time. The advisory committees are very active. They meet regularly. The feedback's included in the CTE review process. And another area that is going well for DMAC is they have stackable credentials, meaning that, if a student gets a certificate, all those courses will then apply to a diploma and then to an AAS. So kind of laddering of those programs. And then competency-based education as well. Just a small recommendation here, and I think this is one of these things we see with all the colleges that we visit, is to try to increase diversity of the advisory committees and increase diversity in the CTE programs, especially those that are either female dominated or male dominated, for example. Didn't miss one, did I? No. Okay. Physical plant, they had very nice facilities. During our visit, we were able to visit the Ankeny campus and the new downtown, newly modeled urban campus, which was very nice. We weren't able to visit all 6 campuses and 12 sites in 2 days. But we did get a nice look at those 2 campuses. And so we were very impressed with the security system there, the lighting. There's a new proximity card locking system that we thought was very nice. So if there was some kind of issue, you can lock down buildings remotely if need be. Accessibility, they're doing a great job with. And so there's a disability education and awareness committee, and they're constantly monitoring their facilities to see if any improvements can be made. And we had no recommendations in that area. Standard number 6, strategic planning. Again, DMAC has a very nice strategic plan. Their current plan goes through this year. So they're currently working on the next strategic plan. And so one of the things we liked about the strategic plan is they gathered input from lots of different stakeholders. They also are prioritizing diversity, equity, inclusion, and guided pathways, which are 2 really big things right now in the state. Just like the CT program review, impressive use of data dashboards and scorecards. And you can see that there's strong alignment with the strategic plan with other plans around the college, like the quality faculty plan, for example. So we just recommend that continued development of the unit level plans and that the metrics and the dashboards kind of flow into that enterprise level plan. Also, as mentioned before, the current plan ends in 2022. So the team is recommending monitoring of the timeline is to make sure the new plan is up and ready to go for the next 5-year period. Okay, quality faculty plan, again, very impressive. Includes professional development options for both full-time and part-time faculty. Very nice faculty orientation and new faculty mentoring process. There's a summer institute for adjunct instructors and concurrent enrollment instructors. And one of the things we noticed that was really nice is that they have a list of books in their quality faculty plan that instructors can read. And these are tied to the strategic plan. As we mentioned before, that the strategic plan, you can kind of see pieces of that all over the place. It's really nice. We do recommend somehow to involve more adjunct faculty into the quality faculty plan. As of right now, their major requirement is attendance at orientation. So we would like to maybe see, some minimum, more beyond that, just kind of a minimum for quality faculty plan, like professional development hours, for example. As far as the quality faculty plan committee is concerned, it was a pretty small committee considering the size of DMAC's college. And so we would recommend maybe just kind of increasing the size of that committee a bit to get more representation from the different campuses and the centers. And then standard 8, senior year plus. DMAC has a career advantage program, and they have NACEP reaffirmation through 2024 and 2025, which is good. They partner with 67 school districts in the region, and they have designated academic advisors assigned to each school to help students with that college, those college decisions. One of the things we thought was really neat was this degree tracker tool on their website, so students can see how their courses that they take transfer. And then another thing that we noticed that was really cool was the some of the concurrent enrollment instructors serve on the CTE advisory boards. So having that connection there is very nice. A couple recommendations. We would like to see the strengthening of the background check and license suspension language in the senior year plus materials. Further development of the career advantage student handbook, and then removing the words gifted and talented language regarding student eligibility for concurrent enrollment courses. So just to kind of tie everything together, some of the themes from the desk review visit and our visit itself. We were really impressed with DMAC, especially the size of the college that they are. They run things very well. They are very attentive to faculty and staff and student needs. They have a commitment to success for the students. You could hear that when you were talking to the student group, and a great culture of continuous improvement, especially with its data driven focus. And very nice job with assessment and strategic planning. So with that, I will turn it over to President Rob Jensen, and he will talk a little bit more about his school.
Are you
I'm
going
gonna
to
stop share. And I think you have to re-share your screen now.
Where's our tech?
He's right, he's looking at you. He's right there.
See that? Okay, good.
Well, first of all, thank you, and I'm glad I came early. I'm very impressed with the quality of the inquiry that you all have made, particularly. And I was just as interested in the charter school movement, because it is fairly new. And I also want to say that as far as accreditation visits go, we had a great visit. It was a lot of work getting ready for it, but we also know how important it is. And every one of the items that was mentioned is something that our college is currently working on, and I'll mention a couple of them. DMAC was created March 18th, 1966, so we're 56 years and 6 days old. Young in higher education terms, but we've come a long way. I start most of my comments this spring with Charles Dickens, the best of times, worst of times. Clearly, we've gone through some interesting challenges over the last several years, COVID being one, of course, so we've had both. DMAC is, this is going to be a problem, 6,550 square miles. We're actually all are part of 22 different counties, really in a very strong economic hotspot of Iowa. We've got 6 campuses and 6 more centers around our district. This at our 50th anniversary, we celebrated that by talking about redoing our mission, which is really to support students. So that is number one, and I've heard the emphasis that you have on students here, and we match that, talking about our communities and our businesses. I often say that our goal is really world domination. We're in a very competitive market. Anything we've got that's doing well, somebody's trying to take it. So we wake up every day on the run. So it's really been a pretty exciting operation. Everybody loves DMAC students. We were the first community college in the world that Grinnell articulated with. I'm not sure they've articulated with anyone since then. We're articulated with all the Iowa Regents universities and private colleges. We just are articulated with Tuskegee University, and we're the only community college in the Midwest that they articulate with. But again, everybody likes our students, and we track our data. We are the largest community college in the state out of the 15. And continue. We're down a little bit this year, as many community colleges are nationally. but we continue to push enrollment and more as more and more students come to us. We serve about 36,000 credit students every year, 22,000 non-credit students. We have students coming from every county in the state. We primarily recruit only in central Iowa, but like most of the colleges, most of them have students from all across the state that come to their various programs. Career Advantage, Heather talked about that. This is our work in the K-12s. Very exciting as we see 60 or 70 students every year graduate from DMAC the same week they graduate from high school. That continues to be strong, and we think that's going to continue going long into the future because it is such a good deal for students. Market penetration is the percentage of students between in college age that come to DMAC. This is where we are. We're in 2010 census, and red means more growth. 2019, so clearly we've been on a very growing trajectory and plan to continue to do so. But again, we've tried to have a facility within driving distance of students throughout our district, and we pretty much got that covered now. And again, you saw some of this data previously. 50, almost 56% female, 23% minority students. We got a big emphasis on bringing more and more diversity into the college, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. 48% of our enrollment is concurrent enrollment, and we get more and more students that come to us while they're still in high school. 2,400 employees, 1,200 faculty, 62% female, 11% racial minorities. Last year, 40% of our hires were diverse. We've really taken worked hard to make sure we advertise better and screen better so that we're getting the best talent throughout the nation. Nearly every one of our jobs is posted nationally. Very seldom do we ever do an internal search anymore. It's easy, it's fast, but you also don't get an opportunity to bring in individuals from around the country. And of course, Forbes has always ranked us very high. Academic programs, so we've got 226 certificates, diplomas, and degrees. We close programs and open programs based on demand. 26 accredited programs. Of course, our 6 majors probably aren't too different from most of the community colleges in the state. And I'm going to pass this out. We talked about governance. We are going through a governance process to formalize our relationship with our faculty and staff. We are unionized through ISVA. We've got a faculty staff union. We meet with them every month. Excellent relationship. This is my 3rd community college. I've been to 2 union schools and 1 non-union school. Non-union, I much prefer union schools because I know exactly who I have to deal with. And quite frankly, every disciplinary case we've had at DMAC in my 19 years, the union has backed us. And oftentimes they would come to us and say, we're not moving somebody along fast enough because they don't want poor performers there any more than we do. So we've got a great relationship with them formally and informally, and we'll pass this out at the end of the program. This is our shared governance. So we've got the union structure, but we've also got a faculty senate structure that's being developed because we've got a fair number of our faculty and staff that are non-union, and we want to make sure that they have a voice in the process at DMAC as anybody else. We've got all kinds of plans, technology plan, facility plans, strategic enrollment plans, in our academic plan. They're on our website. There's something we continue to review on an annual basis with our board, as well as tracking the documents. We do very good on data tracking. We've got a good institutional research department. We're just hiring a new director of institutional research so that we can be more proactive. They are very good at responding to data, but we want them coming to us and saying, did you know that the data show whatever it might be? We are going through a new strategic planning process, which without a doubt is the most comprehensive strategic planning process DMAC's ever gone through. We had consultants from Drake. It's been a great process, focusing on stakeholders, our internal business process, our people, and our stewardship. Again, as Heather mentioned, we've had lots of work sessions with people trying to get everybody in, including the public, to talk about what they think DMAC needs to do and how we can do it better. So we've gained a lot of input, and we're now going through the balanced scorecard process so that we can continue to work our data. We call this our SOAP page, strategy on a page. And again, I've got this for you. The board did redo our mission statement, our value statement, and we're drilling down to make sure, again, we're focused on what we do. And every few years, our board wants to look at our mission and vision to see that it adequately reflects what we're actually doing and where they want us to go. And we're governed by a board of 9 trustees. They run for public office every 4 years. We've had a very stable board. The only way you get off my board right now is to die. That's happened twice, unfortunately. But we've got very strong board support, and they spend a lot of time. They're volunteers that work hundreds of hours. As mentioned, we've got 2 key initiatives, our long-term big initiatives under the strategic plan. One is diversity, and the other is guided pathways. Both are very important to the college, and we've been focusing on. Of course, guided pathways is a statewide initiative that the Department of Education has been very significantly involved in helping lead that with all the community colleges in Iowa. We want to clarify the path for our students. We want to help them get on the path, stay on the path, and make sure they're learning. You heard about SDD 108. I think we were the first community college in the state that actually required a 1 credit kind of orientation to college course. After the first term, we saw that full-time students and part-time students, they retained over 17% more because they'd gone through this course, because we spend 1 term teaching them how to navigate the system and to get through successfully. So we're helping make college more understandable for all of our students. Our strategic plan for DEI, we hired a consultant in the fall of 2019, well before George Floyd, and really spent time doing lots of focus groups talking about where we are at DMAC. As Heather mentioned, we did hire an assistant director in the fall of 2021. January 4th, our director of DEI started, and she's now looking at the draft strategic plan that the consultant came up with and melding that into our college-wide plan. But a lot of it deals with numbers, which we can do, employment, which we can do, but we're most interested in looking at what are we doing in the classroom to have inclusion and equity throughout our coursework and program development. Some college successes that we're proud of. I apologize, I don't know why this is slow. College and career transition counselors. You got a great Department of Education, and I would say that even if Ann wasn't in the room. And as I usually say, they're as good as they tell you they are. They came out with a grant last year for us to hire college and career transition counselors. We got one of the grants, and essentially we partnered with 2 schools. Each school puts in $25,000. I put in $30,000 a year for that position. They're licensed school counselors. They go into these 2 schools 2 days in each during the week, and they work with juniors and seniors to help them plan and decide what they're going to do after high school. I chair the governor's STEM advisory committee of dealing with school counselors. The school counselors we've got in K-12 are great, but they're tied up with mental health, discipline, registration, et cetera. And so our counselors, they're not there to recruit for us. They're there to help any student do their path. So we got a grant to do 1, we hired 8. We got a second grant this year from the department to hire another. So we're going to hire 2 or 3 because we know that 33% of students statewide that aren't going to college after high school, they really need that kind of support. And we just got a $2 million federal earmark. Indian Hills ran it through Congresswoman Miller Meeks. So we're very excited about how that's going to help us move forward. And our transition counselors give a report to their superintendent every month. Dennis Aubaugh is a graduate of DMAC, one of the billionaires in the state. This was the day that he and his wife Susan gave us $1 million grant that allowed us to expand our culinary arts program. If you've never been to one of our dinners, you need to get on the list. Most of DMAC used to be ugly block buildings, and we spent the last 19 years trying to make our campuses exciting as the faculty that teach in them. So this is our culinary arts program. We've got a 37-year relationship with France. We bring French chefs here in January. We send students to work in France in May. This is Carl and Penny Moyer. They gave us $1 million grant to expand he's with Carl Chevrolet, to expand our auto tech program. We doubled the size of this facility, just finished a $14 million addition. We've got a relationship with Chip Ganassi Racing. They say it's the only community college Indy 500 race team partnership in the country. I can't believe that's true, but that's what they say. So in our showroom that we've now got on campus, we've actually got one of their Indy 500 cars that they've donated. And students get very excited about this program. This is the ribbon cutting in the showroom. And again, we have a lot of dealers that are very supportive of what we're doing there. Here's 309 students from all over the state. We run the only statewide auto skills competition. They came in for their written, then they come back at a later time, the winners, and do a hands-on exhibit and win all kinds of great tools from Snap-on Tools and others. So it's just a great way to get students excited. We're doing a $25 million addition on the urban campus. Our urban campus here is the first majority students of color college university campus in the state of Iowa. This is our new STEM education center on the right, student and conference center on the left. This is a great campus with mainly ugly block buildings and parking lots. As excited as I am about these new buildings, and they're great, we've actually gonna have green space between them. We've closed the road, so we've got a walking mall. Again, we serve about 5,000 students. They're very low income, very high diversity. They're going to have a true college or university experience with us right there. UNI, we've got UNI at DMAC. You've seen some of that in the news. We've received a good amount of money. UNI actually operates out of there and delivers the last 2 years of a 4-year degree on site here. Much of it will be online, but some will be face-to-face. And UNI is going out and raise $2.5 million. So low-income students who graduate with their 2-year degree at DMAC at Urban can finish their 4-year degree with UNI there at DMAC prices. So UNI's bought down the tuition, so really made a 4-year education affordable. And that's a very unique relationship. This is just an advertisement about that. We finished an $8 million addition to our Carroll campus. Our Boone campus. This is where all of our sports are. This is a new wellness center for all of our students there. And I just got to brag a little bit. We actually won the national championship in men's basketball last year. It was a great achievement for our schools. Of course, they all tell me it's because we gave them a new building. Our students, when they got back, and if you've never seen a championship ring, they are big and gaudy. So I got one. But just last weekend, DMAC came in 3rd nationally in the men's basketball. So we're very proud of our athletes. And most important, most of them graduate. We're very focused on their academic achievement. We just finished a $6 million addition to our Carroll campus, a new welding area, some health areas, classrooms, and a conference center for the community. This is Jim Knott, one of my board members. He was a retired provost from Carroll that went on the board. We named the conference center in this facility after he and his wife, and it's a very nice ribbon cutting a few weeks ago. Urban, we were given all the former Maytag buildings on our urban campus. This is one of the times I say, be careful what you ask for. It's been a massive project as we help develop these buildings with the city of Newton. Beautiful facilities. It's right on the same block as our Newton campus. But we're now going through a process with IEDA. We've got a $14 million reinvestment grant district. We're going to be putting in their developer is a 72-unit market rate apartments, a boutique hotel, conference center, et cetera. So it's really going to be a revitalization of the Newton area after Maytag left several years ago. And politicians know us. We work hard to get anybody running for office. We want them to see the campus. We had the president and vice president out during the campaign, as well as all the other candidates that ran. We give brass medallions to the presidents. We gave one to President Biden, President Trump, and we haven't been able to get President Biden here. But Jill was here, so we gave Dr. Jill Biden was here, so we gave her one of them too. Again, if you go in the governor's office, always ask if she's got one of her medallions. She's got 2 DMAC medallions on her credenza for being the first woman governor and some of her other achievements. TSA in 2014, TSA came to us 2011 and asked us to develop a 3-course Homeland Security certificate for the screeners at the Des Moines Airport. We did it. We put it online in 2014. Very successful. 2017, the head of TSA from DC flies in, summons us down to the airport, tells us that they've got 80 colleges and universities doing Homeland Security for their area, but they decided to fire 78 of them, gave DMAC 36 states, 220 airports, 22,000 agents to train. So they went from 80 down to 2, and we had 75% of the country. And that was pretty cool until 2019 when they fired the other one. And now we've got all 50 states, 440 airports, 44,000 agents that we're training, and TSA pays for it. And they're also so happy with it that if a TSA agent does not have a 2-year degree, TSA will pay for them to stay at DMAC and finish their 2-year degree. And this past year, we had a graduation from every state in the union, many of them TSA agents. We're proud of that. Iowa State, we formed the Iowa Cyber Hub with them. It's a trademark 2+2 in cybersecurity, which is only becoming more and more important. The NSA just designated DMAC a center of excellence in cyber defense. So we're very excited about that. We're the only one in the state of Iowa. And of course, we were breached last summer. I don't think being breached was a requirement to get the designation. Probably didn't hurt. June 2nd last year, we got the call that we've been breached. Some student in a phishing example opened up their email and gave them access to all their information. But immediately our system started squawking. Our IT people were notified. And so we immediately closed down the internet. We were insured. The bad guys got in, and as I say, they went left instead of right. They went into a bunch of old servers, so which didn't hurt anything. They had a relatively large demand, but they didn't really get anything that we were worried about. There were 21 names of individuals, old files that had their personal information. Of course, we immediately put them all on the insurance watch, but to knowledge, we've had no issues. We paid no ransom, but we did learn a lot. No payment was made. We've had a disaster recovery plan, and the 21 people were put on a watch list. But what we learned, and then we called the FBI immediately, and they said it was the only the Omaha office, the only example they saw where a community college or a college or university was dealing with the threat actor or the bad guys in real time. They called it whack-a-mole. Our people were in an undisclosed location on our Ankeny campus, and they were actually watching the bad guys do their thing and countering them in real time. And that went on for 28 days. So it was pretty big. So we've gone to multi-factor authentication, which everyone should have. We've also, we're doing tabletop exercises. You know, when we got breached, we really didn't have a clear plan as to what to do. So now we do. I mean, of course, we learned the hard way. But we were very lucky, and we all want to make sure that next time it happens, we move quickly. And we've also got experts on retainer. Our insurance company was fantastic. They brought in ransom negotiators, crisis communicators, technologists, and lawyers to help us. So we've got them on retainer right now. So if it happens again, we can move even more quickly than we did because we know that we were lucky. DMAC runs the senior college in Central Iowa, a very successful program. Goldman Sachs hired us as the first statewide 10,000 small business developer. It's a statewide program. It's like a mini MBA for small businesses throughout the state. We use the Babson College curriculum. We've put 184 companies through the program since 2019. We've got 23 in the current cohort. Been a very, very successful program helping small businesses throughout the state. Kosovo. If you haven't been to Kosovo, put it on your list. It's one of the most pro-American countries in the world. I've actually been there 3 times. You walk down the streets in Pristina, you'll see Iowa flags everywhere. The Iowa National Guard has been very engaged over there. This is Tim Moore, General Tim Moore, Adjutant General, who's now retired. Actually a DMAC graduate speaking to the Parliament over in Kosovo, and I happened to be there during one of my trips. Here's the president of Kosovo. I'm giving him a DMAC hat. In full disclaimer, he has been indicted on war crimes and is now in prison. But obviously the hat didn't help him or hurt him. But anyway, but again, we do a lot of work with them. Beautiful country. I mean, a very inexpensive place to travel. Great. So we also got a $1 million grant from the Millennium Foundation Kosovo, funded by the Millennium Challenge Corporation out of Washington, D.C. They picked 28 women in Kosovo to come to DMAC for 2 years, all expenses paid in the energy trades. Next time you're going to have this meeting at DMAC, we've got technology. But anyway, these women graduated this past May, 28 finished up. They're now back in Kosovo in the energy trades. And the average GPA was 3.8. So very, very smart young women. And most of them had jobs on campus in one form or another during their 2 years with DMAC. Mid-American, we have a great energy program. We've had a wind energy program for a number of years. Catherine Cooner, today they donated a new nacelle with us, and we're going to create even a bigger facility there for wind and solar and part of our CTE programs. The L1K Davis Center for Working Families next to our urban campus. Something Barry Griswold, who used to be with the Community Foundation, helped us do. We just had a mural painted on the north side by Jill Wells. It's beautiful. You cannot drive by and appreciate it. You need to get out and look at the detail. She's a DMAC grad who lives in Indianola. But we work with about 5,000 individuals a year. They're helping them with resume, clothes, et cetera, getting into the workforce. The Iowa legislature has been very supportive of us with a lot of the funding that they've given. We've opened a lot of new certificates with some of the Workforce Training and Economic Development Fund program money that we've been receiving. Future Ready Iowa has been extremely popular. We're now up to $23 million a year. In the last 2 years, 2,886 students at DMAC in one of the 50 high demand areas drew down over $7.2 million in tuition. It has been a very, very big success, helping drive students to some of these high demand areas. I mentioned Dennis Albaugh again. He hosts the golf tournament for DMAC out at his golf course. We net over $400,000 a year. And again, this is to help students with various scholarships throughout the college. We were just picked by the National Science Foundation as one of 6 schools, or 13 schools, excuse me, to partner in a project to help us become even better at attracting STEM grants to work with the STEM workforce. Lumina Foundation and the New American Corporation picked us as one of 6 colleges in the nation to look at best models for career preparation in the workforce areas. So we're very proud of that. The consultants were just spent 2 days with us, and we're most excited about learning more best practices from some of the other best community colleges in the United States. So we became the first college or university to be an Amazon provider of education. Amazon gives free education to their associates. They partnered with us, and so UNI came on soon after we did, so that they will start that. They provide about just under $6,000 a year to their associates to get their 2-year degree, regardless of major. So we're very excited about that. And I'm almost done. We received $1 million grant from the governor's office to open up a new career academy in Templeton, Iowa, partnering with 8 schools around that area, right in downtown Templeton. There'll be welding, healthcare, and several other CTE areas. And I mentioned Google. We're also now negotiating with Tesla to become a Tesla training site. Google picked us one of 2 community colleges in the country to pilot their new software engineering certificate. They picked 19 DMAC students to get free tuition plus a $5,000 grant each to go through that certificate program. A lot of mentoring, so we're very excited about all that can do. In 2016, we were picked as the number 10, as far as value college is ranked as number 10 on one of the 1,700 2-year schools in the country. DMAC has the highest bond rating of any community college in the state, the lowest property tax levy, the lowest tuition and fees of any college or university, because for many of our students, money is the issue. And finally, Forbes picked DMAC as the number 1 employer in the state of Iowa this past year. We're very proud of that. They do it for all 15 states. Forbes said it's the first time a college or university was ever picked number 1 in their state. Number 4 was Principal, number 5 was John Deere, number 6 was the state of Iowa, number 9 was Iowa State, number 13 was University of Iowa. Who pays attention to numbers?
Okay.
But again, we didn't give them any money, we didn't sponsor anything, but it's nice to get recognition for your hard work. And I tell you, I'll put our faculty and staff up against anybody. So essentially, that's it. I'd be happy to answer any questions. We are going to work hard on the comments that were made throughout this thing. And I normally end with a wrap. It's going to work with this technology. So 5 years.
There you go. Nice job. Nice job.
All right, does anyone have any questions? No? Oh.
But I can't say enough about how, I mean, and again, Ann's got a great team. Amy and this, Katie Blatnick Gagne runs the college transition program. She's done a great job. Jeremy is a full partner with the community colleges in this state. He's at our meetings. In fact, most of the time, I think he's even in closed session. I mean, we value the relationship we have, and you know, we will fight hard to stay in this division because it's become a true partnership. And not only are they friends, but they're supporters and help push us to do a better job.
Thank you. Did you?
I was just going to say the Community College Council reviewed this and think it's an outstanding report. And so I would move that we grant continuing accreditation to Des Moines Area Community College until 2027.
Second. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Ooh, you want to see it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so what?
Recorded.
So it's,
Back. Do you want to adjourn and do it off?
All states gonna see.
3 balls and a strike to count to Brent Johnson. 1 out, top of the
This is
7th
how-
inning.
this is what we
Fresno
want our
2, Tacoma
students to
1.
like when they leave
Santos in a jam. Johnson is first year at AAA. From the set he deals. That swung on and driven deep down the left field line toward the corner, and this ball is going to be. Oh, it's caught! It's not Jake Wald. That's the ball girl. Jake Wald in left field. Can't believe it. And look, she shows him up. She just sort of tosses him the ball, saying, "Take that, Jake. I don't see you making the effort." Alfonso, the catcher, he can't believe it. Let's look at that replay. Oh, my. What an amazing play. And now look at her sitting there saying, "No big deal," like nothing.
You heard it earlier today, just about those soft skills, employability skills that we need students to have. We focus on that in every course we have. We want our students to leave knowing that they expect them to be technologically proficient, but they have to have that fire in the belly, show up on time, know how to work for teams, be able to communicate, et cetera. So what do we want a DMAC graduate to be like when they, here we go again. It's too bad.
3 balls and a strike to count to Brent Johnson. 1 out, top of the 7th inning.
Okay, so what do we want students to be like when they leave DMAC? We'll see how this goes here. Oh, good, it wasn't just me and my system. All right. We're gonna, thank you.
Thanks for trying. I appreciate it, Rob. All right, all those in favor? Opposed? All right, the motion carries. Congratulations. Thank you. I don't know, for all the new members, I don't know if you've ever heard the rap, but it is fantastic. It is pretty awesome, so.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hand these around.
Sure.
Here's some.
Okay. Secondary career and technical education report.
Just like the things.
Yeah, we got 2 things going.
Dennis, are you needing to share screen, sir?
Yes, please. The other one.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
This is on the second page. Sorry.
Oh, there's another one.
Oh, there's 3. Okay. Oh, there's 3.
You should be good now.
Okay. Here's the paper.
Hey, did you guys get the, I don't think, did you guys get it?
Oh, it's coming.
Your pages, your binder's gonna be overflowing, Brian. Already is. For this meeting.
Needs a wagon to carry it up here.
I know, right? Hi, yep, I'm ready.
Everybody, I'm Dennis Harden, and I'm the Bureau Chief for Current Technical Education here at the department. And I am pleased to be here today to present the annual condition of secondary education report. This report provides an in-depth look at secondary CTE over the past 5 years, covering academic years 2017 through 2021. Before I begin, I want to thank my colleagues in the Division of Community Colleges and Workforce Preparation, Allison Jepson, who's here, and Dan Lee, as well as others who contributed to the report. It's a 65-page report, and it's a huge task, and I really appreciate everyone's work. The report outline, there are two main sections in the report. Trends in secondary career and technical education, and 4 emerging areas of focus strengthening high-quality career and technical education. As I said, it's a lengthy 65-page report. It's only be covering a few of the highlights from the report, and hopefully if you haven't had a chance to go through it, you'll have some time at your leisure to take a look. I would like to preface my remarks by stating that the 2020-21 school year was impacted with COVID. So we've seen some slight decreases in some of our numbers, and we're hoping to continue to see those increases as we continue. So the first couple of charts I have to share with you. The first one reports the secondary CTE courses taught since 2017. In 2021, 8,966 secondary CTE courses were offered in Iowa, which is a 0.7% decrease from the year before, with a compound annual growth rate of 3.3% over a 5-year period. It also reports the change of college credit contracted courses, CTE courses. The proportion of college credit contracted CTE courses increased steadily. In 2017, they accounted for 25.4% of the total secondary CTE courses, whereas in 2021, 29.7% of all secondary CTE courses were college credit contracted courses, which is close to a 33% increase. And the second chart on this slide displays the total number of CTE, secondary CTE programs, which programs meaning at least 3 units of sequential CTE coursework aligning with a specific zip code that were taught since 2017. And as shown, the number of CTE programs peaked in 2017 and has decreased slightly since then to 1,738 in 2021. Our next table breaks down CTE programs by service area and shows that applied science, technology, engineering, and manufacturing was the most common service area, with 559 programs taught in 2021. And by contrast, information solutions is the smallest service area that continues to increase. So we're really pleased to see the growth in those particular programs as well. The next couple of charts are secondary CTE enrollment and participation rate. The first chart displays secondary CTE enrollment since 2017. In 2021, there were 100,044 students enrolled in at least one CTE course, which is the second highest in the past 5 years. And then students who took at least one college credit contracted CTE course were identified as college credit CTE students. And this in 2021, 18,233 students took at least one college contracted course, which is a slight decrease of 6.9% from the year before. And then in the second chart, over the past 5 years, the participation rate in Iowa was approximately 68%, which meaning those students that took one course. And it did increase from 65.3% to 69.3% in 2021. Our enrollment by grade level and service area are depicted on these two charts. The first chart shows secondary CTE enrollment by grade level. And the pattern of CTE enrollment by grade level held steady over the past 5 years. 9th graders were the largest group, averaging 29%, followed by 10th graders. And then students in grades 11th and 12th accounted for 23.9% and 21.3% respectively. One of the areas, this is one of the areas that I'm really intrigued with, because we've got to continue to see more growth as the students progress 9 up through 12. And I think that we've got some things that we're working on that will help where we continue to have the students continue on in more courses and not just taking one course at the freshman level. The second chart summarizes enrollment by service area and displays the change in enrollment by service area since 2017. Over the past 5 years, more students enrolled in courses in human service and family consumer sciences area than any other service area. And in that particular area, that would be unlike child development, culinary arts, where our highest enrollment in that particular area. And then students in applied science, technology, engineering, and manufacturing are also popular among high school students as well. Some of the characteristics of our secondary CTE students, our white students make up 77.5% of the student body. The first chart displays the proportion of white students and the proportion of minority students enrolled in secondary CTE programs. However, the percentage of minority secondary CTE students increased steadily from 20% to 22.5% in 2021. And Hispanic students comprise the largest minority group, averaging 47.7%, followed first by Black students, averaging around 24.3%, and then by students who reported 2 or more races. The second chart summarizes the enrollment by gender. We've seen more of our enrollment in male students in CTE than female students, with a increase in the female population from 44.7% in 2017 to 45.3% in 2021.
Dennis, you go back that slide.
Sure.
Do you know how that increase as far as the percent of minority, how that 22.5% compares with the general student population in Iowa as far as K-12?
Well, when I talked about the participation rate, 68% is 68% of all high school students that were enrolled in one CT course. Is that?
But what I'm asking for is that the 22%, that's minority enrollment, correct?
Yes, this is the minority enrollment.
Right. And so how does that compare with K-12 public school minority enrollment?
I don't know. That would be something I can check on.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's fine.
It's a good question.
Because I know this anecdotal data is that that number is increasing every year, and I'm just wondering if the community college is reflecting that increase or not.
Thanks. Moving on to the human resources section, we have 2 charts here. The first chart displays the number of full-time and part-time CTE teachers employed by school districts since 2017. The number of CTE teachers has grown by less than 1%, from 1,919 in 2017 to 1,958 in 2021. And then the number of full-time CTE teachers increased from 1,780 to 1,859, which is a 1.1% compound annual growth rate. And then the number of part-time CTE teachers decreased from 139 to 99 in 2021. And then our second chart displays the number of full-time adjunct and part-time CTE faculty employed by community colleges in teaching college credit contracted CTE courses since 2017. The number of community college CTE faculty teaching high school students decreased by less than 1%, from 2,056 in 2017 to 1,988 in 2021. We also have 4 emerging areas in our reports, and I'm going to be highlighting 3 of the 4 here. The first of those is our emerging areas is our current technical student organizations. And I want to highlight this because CTSOs are an integral component of all of our CTE programs. And if you'll recall, our Perkins State Plan requires all CTE programs to have their corresponding current technical student organization by the 2024-2025 school year. And so even though you'll see here, we had a slight decrease for the past couple of years, we're going to see a tremendous increase in participation in our current technical student organizations. For example, Skills USA, which is one of our student organizations in the skilled technical manufacturing areas, we onboarded 158 chapters just in the past 3 months. So we will see these numbers climb tremendously I believe, with the new requirement. They're considered to be intracurricular, so a lot of the aspects of the current technical student organizations take place within the classroom. They're not extracurricular, considered to be intracurricular. So very excited about the expansion of that particular initiative. Another area of our 4 emerging areas that we highlight in the report is our work-based learning. You know, this is one of our Future Ready Iowa pieces and very critical. This chart presents the number of work-based learning courses since 2017. And when we talk about work-based learning courses, we're talking about those courses where students actually go to the workplace. And we have a lot of other work-based learning activities going on, but this strictly those where the students actually spend time in the workplace. We saw a slight decrease in 2020, but that ticked back up in 2021. So we're really excited about our continued growth in our work-based learning. These were just some of the student characteristics in our work-based learning area. 2/3 of all students who've taken work-based learning were 12th graders, followed by 11th grade, and not very many 9th and 10th graders participating in work-based learning. Again, those that they're actually going out to the workplace. And interestingly enough, in work-based learning, females outnumbered males in courses taken in work-based learning. So that's an interesting piece there. And then regarding race and ethnicity, findings were consistent with the general secondary CTE population, with over 80% being white students.
You have an explanation for the gender issue? Maybe it's not an issue, maybe it's just a fact.
It may be one of the things we could look at is to see, what are those work-based learning opportunities? Sure. It could be things in the child development area or work or like culinary arts and those types of things that typically be, as well as maybe in the healthcare areas as well, that are traditionally female.
More wellness.
Yes.
There you go.
And then finally, the fourth, one of the other areas that we wanted to highlight was our regional centers. In 2021, we had 18 regional centers providing 170 career academies with 4,921 high school students from 105 school districts. And among the 18 regional career centers, 6 are actually located on community college campuses. A couple of things I would like to highlight here is, of course, we have the Career Academy Incentive Fund, which provides $1 million grants to community colleges to start regional centers, and we've awarded 8 of those $1 million grants. So we're going to see some great expansion there as they're continuing to build those, and hopefully get Dr. Lebo out for some ribbon cuttings and stuff in the near future. And we're really excited about the growth in our regional centers. In addition, we've contracted with just recently with the University of Northern Iowa to conduct a statewide study to determine the efficient placement and location of regional center facilities across the state. We want to make sure we've got good coverage and making sure that all students have are in close proximity to a regional center. Because as you can see, there's a lot of areas in the state that aren't covered by regional centers. So we'll be anxious to see how the results of that study and the data and such that they provide us for that. And then I mentioned career academies within the regional centers. Of course, applied science, technology, engineering, and manufacturing is our biggest career academy area with 63, followed by human services, family consumer sciences, health sciences, information solutions, and then business and ag with 15 and 7 respectively. So just some major takeaways from the report. CT participation rate has risen on college contracted courses. We have an increase in percentage of students taking more CTE courses, which I mentioned we really want to continue to focus on. Female secondary CTE teachers outnumber male teachers. We're continuing to see a rise in work-based learning, and then the women participating in greater proportion than men in work-based learning. So that was quick and dirty summary of the report, and I hope that you'll have some time to go through. And if you have any other questions or whatever, don't hesitate to reach out. But we're excited about the things that are going on in current technical education, and I think we've got a lot of opportunities for expansion. So looking forward to that.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone have any questions? Thanks. Let's do this. Thank you.
Impressive data.
Yeah.
You know, I've been trying to figure out how to do a data report that's really exciting, you know?
Let me know about
That's one
that.
that- Excited about those numbers.
Preparing learners for tomorrow's workforce. Is that right?
Heather does have it. Yes, in our most recent condition of education report for the 2020-2021 school year, minority students made up 26.1% of public school K-12 enrollment.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. Iowa Community College. I don't know why I wrote it. The community college's joint enrollment report.
And for some reason, it's not letting me share with where I'm logged in. I think we have it now. Thank you. Thank you. I'm Allison Jepson. I'm the Executive Officer with the Division of Community Colleges and Workforce Preparation. Joining me today is Vlad Basis, who will also be presenting on the Joint Enrollment Outcomes Report. So we'll give you a nice overview of joint enrollment in the state of Iowa, which is, of course, something that Iowa is really stands out in. We still compete with some other states and we kind of vie for the #1 position, but it's something that continues to grow. So I want to provide some of the details today. But to start, I wanted to outline for this report in particular, this is a great report because it shows individually by Iowa's 15 community colleges a great breakdown of the information such as the demographics that attend those schools of the jointly enrolled students, male versus female enrollment, total enrollment versus joint enrollment, and as well as a breakdown of what classes students are taking at those institutions. So that up towards the back end of the report, that's what you'll see is those community college profiles. As far as what is jointly enrollment, joint enrollment is that refers to students who enroll in one or more community college courses while in high school. Most jointly enrolled students enroll through senior year plus programs such as concurrent enrollment. Other students enroll independently as tuition paying students. So research indicates that participation in joint enrollment can lead to higher graduation and college enrollment rates, higher education or college grade point average, and greater credit accumulation and increased rates of credential attainment. So as you'll see here, Iowa continues to experience overall growth, but of course, academic year 2021 was that pandemic year, which is the familiar tale right now. So it was down 8.8% to 47,262 students. But overall, since 2004, joint enrollment has grown about 124.5%, and that's an average rate of increase of 4.9% per year. And despite some of the setbacks due to COVID that we hope to see, and we think based on the projections, we'll continue to see more growth in joint enrollment. So as you can see here, 2 community colleges did see an increase in their enrollment this time in academic year 21, while 13 did see a decrease. In Iowa, about 2 out of every 5 students at an institution is a jointly enrolled student, and they accounted for over 40% of total enrollment, and 9 of Iowa's 15 community colleges enroll more jointly enrolled students than the state average. The highest percentage of jointly enrolled students is at Northeast Iowa Community College at 50.8%. That's closely followed by Iowa Valley Community College District that has a 45.7% of total enrollment who are jointly enrolled students. So this is a trend of lots of jointly enrolled students participating in our community college coursework.
So 40.4% of total enrollment were jointly enrolled students. And that continues to rise because of more participation in joint enrollment and slight decreases in full-time college enrollment. So as you can see here, most students enroll through contracted courses or concurrent enrollment. And this is the first year that there was no enrollment through post-secondary enrollment options, or what we call PSEO. This is largely driven by statutory changes that took place in academic year 18 that shifted things away from PSEO and toward concurrent enrollment. So there were 47,297 instances of people enrolling through contracted course enrollment and 1,378 instances of tuition enrollment in academic year 21. So community colleges experienced an increase in the number of credit hours for jointly enrolled students in academic year 21. Jointly enrolled students took an average of 8.4 credits, semester credit hours versus a student who might be fully just enrolled in post-secondary. Their average is 13.3 credit hours. Because high school students are generally enrolling part-time, this kind of makes sense for the amount of time that they would be engaging in those courses. So of the courses taken by jointly enrolled students, 66.3% were in arts and sciences, while 33.7% were in career and technical education. And between academic year 20 and academic year 21, there was just a shift of 2.5% of an increase for arts and sciences courses and decrease for CTE courses. The top 5 courses that were enrolled in by jointly enrolled students were English language and literature, social sciences and history, mathematics, healthcare sciences, and life and physical sciences. And one of the best things that we got out of academic year 21 was the increase in awards attainment by jointly enrolled students. That went up 15.7% to 1,122 awards. And that translates to 241 associate degrees, 79 diplomas, and 801 certificates. In academic year 21, the profile of a jointly enrolled student was a Caucasian high school senior. Compared to overall community college enrollment, jointly enrolled students tend to be less diverse and but do have are more evenly represented by each sex. In total, 31.1% of public school students in grades 9 through 12 enrolled in community college credit courses, including almost half of all high school seniors at 48.9% of all seniors in Iowa.
Do we have a breakdown of where, what schools or what districts are, I mean, not districts, but like schools? I think it'd be interesting to see, like, if it's a high poverty school, are your students, jointly enrolling, or if it's like, school district like Waukee or something like that, maybe you have a higher percentage of students who are. Is that data available?
I believe it. I think you could speak to that more.
Readily available. Unfortunately, we do publish every year a distribution and the percentages of jointly enrolled students by school district. It's a large map with the data on the back of it. It's a part of the condition of community college report, as well as this report as well. All it takes is to establish what schools out there among those listed actually are on the top level or compared to other schools. So it can easily be done.
Okay.
So it's not readily available at the time.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay.
So as far as the concurrent enrollment offerings, the main way that people engage with concurrent enrollment, as we've seen, is through concurrent enrollment itself. And that's a program where students aren't paying out of pocket for engaging in community college coursework. And those students engage in 387,211 credit hours. And that's a value of $75 million that they received. And in academic year 21, Iowa's community colleges gained about 35 million and just over 35 million in revenue from jointly enrolled students. And that was about the same as academic year 20, just for comparison. So moving forward, I'd like to hand it over to Vlad Basis, who will talk to you about the outcomes report.
Good afternoon. Oh,
Oh,
My name is Lean forward, that's less.
Yeah.
My name is Vlad Basis, and I maintain management information system for the Division of Community Colleges and Workforce Preparation for a number of years. So we took a task of proving that joint enrollment pays in terms of earlier enrollments, in terms of more voluminous enrollments in community colleges, in border regions, in any type of post-secondary education, as well as receive their awards faster than students without no joint enrollment experience. So in this dichotomy, we started with a distant from now cohort of 2011 graduates from all high schools in Iowa. That was quite a number, 29,000. That was our starting cohort. And we set tasks to follow them for about 8 years in their post-secondary endeavors, in their post-secondary enrollments and completions. So the questions were, to what extent do students with joint enrollment experience enroll in post-secondary education directly following high school and within 8 years compared to students without joint enrollment experience? So that's enrollment portion. How long does it take for students with joint enrollment credit to finish their college or college award compared to students without joint enrollment credit? What impact do credits earned through joint enrollment have on college completion? And if all credits earned are transferred towards a degree or award, to what extent would participating in joint enrollment help students reduce the cost of post-secondary education when compared to students without joint enrollment experience? Some of the key questions. There are many other parameters that could be explored related to joint enrollment experience, but we did it in this dichotomy, and we applied not only statistical, not only descriptive analysis, but also regression analysis to factor in other things that impact success in joint enrollment or lack of thereof, such as socioeconomic factors, their academic success level, so that all factors are equal. We could come up with a conclusion about the usefulness of joint enrollment compared to the students that didn't have it. Just to give you an idea about the distribution out there, it was approximately equal distribution of all cohorts for the males, females distributions of 50.1% of males. In joint enrollment, the proportion of males was a bit lower, 46%. In not joint enrollment cohort of the students, 54.2%. So that's, we see already some differences right on the onset. Free and reduced lunch facts were used as a proxy for economic disadvantaged students. So that was another factor we explored, and among 29,000 of the initial cohort, 26.1% of the students actually used free and reduced lunches. For jointly enrolled students experience, that was only 20.3%, while for non-jointly enrolled students, it was significantly higher at 34.9%. We used English and math proficiency and basic tests as a proxy for academic success of our students, and that was at the level of 76.2% for the general cohort for everybody. Was 82.6, significantly higher for students with joint enrollment experience, and only 63.3% for the students without joint enrollment experience. The same discrepancy was true basically on the level of race and ethnicity. While the white students comprised 88.5% of the whole cohort, in joint enrollment, it was significantly higher at 91.2%, while in non-joint enrollment experienced students, only 84.2%. For the outcomes, we explored the outcomes of immediate enrollment, which is defined as enrollment in a community college or border regions or any type of post-secondary education, first fall term after graduation in spring 2011 in our case. So that's what we call immediate enrollment. And the students with joint enrollment experience enrolled in post-secondary immediately at the rates of 69.5%, while non-joint enrolled students only was 30.4%. So less than half of those. Core question about the time to degree or any award, and I mean any award from a 3-credit certificate to a full 4-year degree in all post-secondary education was in 8 years. It looked like 3.7 years on average for students with joint enrollment experience versus 4 years for students with no joint enrollment experience. So again, joint enrollment experience helps students to graduate faster than students without without joint enrollment experience. We also established that in 8 years, 59% of that starting 2011 graduates cohort with joint enrollment experience graduated at community college, a college or university, pardon me, all post-secondary education types, while it was only 32.8% for students without joint enrollment experience. Students with joint enrollment experience are also transferred from community college to a 4-year institution at higher rates, 91.2% versus 84.2% for students without joint enrollment experience. And if that tuition that they had to pay was translated into saved dollars, we see that at the average, they would have, each of the students would have saved $1,474 because they took some joint enrollment courses. An interesting discovery was on the number of credits earned while still in high school through joint enrollment. It basically did not expose any significance for graduation from a community college, but it was significant for graduation from a 4-year institution. So as you can see on the chart, this blue line, the more credit they get while they were still in high school, the better chance they have to graduate from a 4-year institution. And it peaks around 30 credits approximately. So that must be a magic number, because after that it plateaus somewhat. But clearly the student, it's almost linear. The more credit they get, the more chances they get to graduate from a 4-year institution. So bottom line is, we were able to prove that joint enrollment experience in high school with all other factors equal. Yes, within joint enrollment students, there is big discrepancy as to socioeconomic status and academic success. That is true, but if even those all factors taken into consideration, it is still a significant predictor of enrollment in a community college immediately, and for enrolling in a 4-year college or university immediately after graduating from high school. Another discovery is the same in favor of joint enrollment, as joint enrollment experience can help students to obtain 2-year or 4-year degrees in a shorter time. So the full report is available at this link provided at our site. We also have nice data visualization that will help you to quickly pinpoint needed particular achievements of joint enrollment students versus not joint enrollment students, because here you can select not only, oh, it doesn't come to the screen. Okay, so what do I need? Stop share and do something else?
Yes, yeah, I can bring it over.
Whose machine are we sharing?
Whoops. Okay, there we go. So this is an interactive site basically that proves the same point. It allows you to select any category of enrollment within 8 years. let's say I select 2-year private, 2-year public, 4-year, say this is my interest, and it adjusts correspondingly to provide you the percentages and the numbers behind it, as well as gives the same idea through explored criteria as to enrollments and dropout rates in comparative analysis. Like this one, for example, shows that the percent of dropouts in post-secondary education among immediate and release, those who started their education right after they graduated from high school, is in favor of joint enrollment, because only 25% of them drop a college enrollment in 8 years, while it is 40% for students without joint enrollment experience, and many other things that we can explore here.
When you said that all factors were taken into consideration as far as enrollment or the data that you provided, so you adjusted for the initial discrepancies as far as achievement in math and science, and adjusted for free and reduced lunch.
Exactly. Imagine 2 cohorts that are artificially entirely equal. That's how regression worked on this one, for at least 2 points. We didn't go too far, and there are many questions that we discovered in the process, but all factors equal indeed, at least among those that we explored. Socioeconomic status discrepancies, academic success discrepancies, and demographic discrepancies out there. If those even taken into consideration, the 2 groups compared equally, joint enrollment still wins on those factors explored.
Thank you.
That's a pretty impressive statement about the value of joint enrollment programs.
Especially
Is it a cause and effect though, or is it just a correlation?
No, it's not correlation, because these have been explored in all those factors taken into consideration. So
All right.
that's a typical reproach to the solidity of a.
Well, I'm not questioning it. I
No.
want to
Because I'm
understand.
saying that we specifically choose the test now to go beyond descriptive analysis.
All right. Okay, thank you.
In general, does support joint enrollment as an approach to promoting a whole bunch of benefits to students, but it's still worth noting who can access those programs and the discrepancies between arts and science. The arts and science students have to test proficient to get into those community college courses. CTE does not. You can verify that the benefits are there for students who do participate, but have to look at who can access those even in the first place.
There's no doubt. And I'm from Dubuque, Northeast Iowa Community College. It's every school district and every private school has high participation, high at NICC. So that, obviously my area, the state believes in this. But I just didn't know that was anecdotal, or now I got some proof.
Allison remembers this, and when we discussed this at the Community College Council meeting, it was pointed out, if you look on page 8 of the first report, that when you look at joint enrollment versus a total enrollment based on racial and ethnic background, there's one group, which are Black students, which are significantly not enrolled in joint enrollment compared to their total numbers. So I asked that question, why is that? The answer I got was surprising. And the answer was, as I remember, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, Allison, that in the 6 or 7 largest urban schools, and I make the assumption that's where the largest number of Black students would be located, that those school districts push advanced placement classes rather than joint enrollment. And that really struck a chord with me, because about 3 years ago, you remember Kim, who was a former board member, she did an equity committee for the board. And in that process, she brought together, I don't know, Mike, you know, maybe 15, 20, 25 students. And at, I think the first meeting I attend, one of the first things I heard, and I think these are both Black students from Des Moines, and that is, we can't get into AP classes. So my first thought was, well, there must be set qualifications, and I never got an adequate explanation of why they would say, we can't get into AP classes. So this is sort of counterintuitive to me in that joint enrollment is not for talented and gifted students. So why aren't these urban schools pushing the joint enrollment as much as they push the AP enrollment? It just seems counterintuitive to me.
And I think that in those schools, a lot of times, I think it's the career counselors are maybe not, if the student is expressing interest in an AP course, I think they're kind of steering them away from it for minority students more so. But they're not necessarily steering them towards joint enrollment either.
And why not? That to me is a very
Question,
significant.
but yeah, that's what because I remember Robert talking about it, and he's saying that like they have to fight to get into those classes, and it shouldn't be that way. Because I talked to many of those students, and yeah, they were saying that they aren't, like I remember I took AP classes when I was, and no one steered me away from it. I mean, they told me how challenging it would be, and I was like, okay, thanks, I'm gonna do it. So.
But it seems to me that might be something the board or the department might want to look into, because I think we would want to encourage Black students who might not qualify for AP courses to certainly look at joint enrollment, because I think the joint enrollment program is just a fabulous program, because it allows students who otherwise might not have at least the opportunity to get into some program that would help them learn a skill, or to get in a community college or a four-year university. So I just was kind of surprised at that response. It just doesn't seem right to me.
Well, it's not right. And I think you might be, if you're steering minority students into something and whatever, you might run into some legal issues, I think.
Even if you take an advanced placement class, there's no guarantee you get college credit. No.
You have to score high enough on the
colleges
you have to
will
take
take them,
the test.
particularly if you get a B, say, or even or a C, they won't take the class. So those kids, while they certainly benefit with being with other students who are engaged in and are challenging themselves, to me, Mike, always the best choice was concurrent or joint enrollment, because you're almost assured college credit. And so I think that there definitely deserves some investigation. And is this the best plan? I taught one of the first joint college classes, year 1999. What was it? What did I do that? 1999, 1920? I mean, that's a long time ago. But we're just beginning to yeah, just go figure. Yeah, then that was my thinking too. If I had approval I had a mentor from a local community college. And I had the credentials, and he was supposed to be my mentor, and I never saw him, of course, but we taught the class, and the kids got credit, and gosh, we thought this was pretty cool. And I think they did too. I'd love to see those minority students with more opportunities like that.
Yeah.
Well, the issue with AP, it's not a guarantee. And it's very situational. It can be dependent on the department of the college or university.
Yeah.
So you grant credit, but getting a college credit through the method here, as far as, guarantees you a credit, but you also have to be very cognizant of the fact that credit may not transfer to where you want it to go. And so it really behooves students as they take these college courses to be in tune as far as if they're going to transfer, and if this course that they're taking is going to transfer for credit for them.
But won't most of our joint enrollment classes transfer to any Iowa community college?
It depends.
It depends.
Oh, it depends.
There is articulation going on.
Yeah, okay.
That's been a big issue. When I was in the legislature, that was the big issue too. And we were, scolding University of Iowa and Iowa State and UNI to take these classes. Let's don't, because you have some difference in terms of the explanation of the class, disqualify that student. Let's get this articulation done. I think we've done a better job of that, but I don't think the whole problem has been solved.
Oh, it's greatly solved if you get an AA degree, then a lot of things transfer.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
And community colleges are making a concerted effort to do better in this area. And that's one of the major pushes behind the Guided Pathways Initiative that President Jensen mentioned. And it's also part of the underlying reasons why they're focusing on these transfer majors that I believe have also been mentioned in previous conversations with Jeremy here. All that is geared around making it easier to transfer credits from community college, no matter where you get them or when you get them at the community college, into four-year colleges and universities. And it's also, President Jensen mentioned the degree audit that they make available to high school students for that exact reason. You can take 40 credits in high school, but that credit's got to apply if you want it to mean anything or after you leave high school. So a lot of work being done there, but certainly more can be done.
I could be wrong, but it seemed to me that there were a certain number of specific classes offered at community colleges, which would be automatically accepted at Iowa State and Iowa. Now, maybe I was dreaming that, but I thought there was a process in which they examined all these community college courses and they said, we will accept this, and this as meeting the requirement at our university. So it may not be all courses, but there are a significant number of courses. And I'm assuming most of them would be the introductory courses like first year English, maybe first year, I don't know, algebra, first year math, whatever. And those would be significant, I think, barriers for students to overcome.
It would be interesting to, I don't know, maybe Jeremy could give the answer to this too. There may be classes in which we have articulation agreements. I think you and I was, frankly, 10 years ago, you and I was the most difficult. We were having difficulty in getting them to give us a sound articulation, work with community colleges so that those classes would transfer. But we made a lot of progress on that. It'd be nice to have a report on that. Maybe we could talk about that a little bit more at another meeting. You guys could do a little research for us and tell us where we're at on that. Would that be profitable for us or not?
I can't speak for Jeremy, but I'm sure he would be more than happy.
I guess I'd like to know,
Yeah, absolutely. We can take it as a task.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can put on an agenda for another meeting.
I think that's why some of the funds for career counselors going into high schools is important to provide that direction. I forgot who made the comment earlier that high school counselors are busy doing a lot of other things besides career counseling and figuring out where college credits will work to transfer and where they won't work to transfer. They have their plates very full.
I have a daughter who's a guidance counselor in Spencer. Yes, full plate.
But I think that if you are steering minority students away from certain opportunities, then
yes,
that is not a good thing. And if the minority students feel that way or feel like
there is a cost to the school district for those classes. It's not free.
All right.
And credentialing is a big thing too, for qualified instructors to teach those courses. AP, high school teachers can teach AP, they just have to have the curriculum approved by the College Board.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Lad.
Yep. All right.
David will come back in around,
5 minutes.
5 minutes.